Hello, all, and welcome back to a new episode of TV and Us, a conversation show about the TV series that we just can't stop talking about. My name is Jennifer Hahn.
And I'm Sarah Callan.
And each season we focus on a different show, reviewing it episode by episode, and we invite you to watch along with us. Right now, we're reviewing The Sopranos Season 2, and we're nearing the end. We're at the penultimate episode, episode 12, titled The Knight in White Satin Armor, which is a great title. Honestly, it's a very good one. This is a very juicy episode, so if you haven't watched it yet, or it's been many years since you've watched it, go experience the emotional roller coaster ride that is this episode, and then come back and listen to the rest of our conversation. So, Sarah, hit us with a summary for episode 12, which I'm sure, I don't even know how you summarize this whole episode in like one sentence.
And this is one sentence. It is, as Richie pushes for power, Tony's control is tested, Janice's romance complicates the family, and Junior weighs his loyalties.
Oh, that actually is pretty good.
Yeah, pretty comprehensive.
Yeah. And we'll end that with and the rise of Carmela has arrived.
Mm-hmm. Yep, still in play.
So what is your episode title for this 12th episode?
My title is Sun Coming Up.
Oh, yes. Lots happened in this evening before the sun has risen. Yeah. My episode title is Historical Union.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't really know where to begin, honestly, because so many things happen in this episode. And so all of the tension building and build up and setups are now being paid off now, which is very exciting. So, Sarah, tell me your thoughts about what's the one big thing that really stands out to you in this 12th episode that we should start with?
Oh, man. There's so much. But I think... I think we got to start with Richie and Janice. Because, that really is the consistent theme and the consistent pairing throughout this episode is we start with their new house, their engagement party, and then everything goes to hell. And then Janice leaves, goes back to Seattle. So, what a roller coaster of an episode depicting what was already a tumultuous relationship. And, these real highs for Janice and these real lows. And it's all in this one episode, which is absolutely wild. And we knew with these two very volatile personalities, putting them in a relationship together was never going to end well. I didn't expect for it to end this badly, this quickly. So that was a delight to see. But yeah, wow, what a way to end this episode.
Yeah, it's man, I think it's fascinating because there's a million different ways that this could have gone. And Richie's planning his schemes, Junior scheming, Tony scheming, and I kind of love that it's none of them that get to successfully complete their mission, but it's actually Janice who, out of an emotional overflow in a moment, is what resolves this moment, this like buildup of tension for not just like the two of them, but I think for like so many of the characters in this world that have intertwined. So every scheme from Junior, Tony, Richie, all of the other families, the crews, it's actually just human emotion that ultimately had the last laugh. And it's the one that was the definitive nail in the coffin for this story arc. And I think that's a fascinating choice for the show to showcase how it's actually not a well-constructed scheme or a well-planned plot that allows things to happen and for the board positions to change. It's these human outbursts, these human emotions, and we see all of the characters have these very human moments, but that is what reigns in this world. It's actually none of the scheming. This is very different from so many other mafia films where there's complicated plots that are being constructed, and then there's betrayals, there's moles, and we get some of that, which we'll talk about with Junior. But the thing that reigns in this world, that runs this system, is actually the emotions that are unchecked. And oops, they flowed a little faster than usual, and a little easier than usual. And I think that's a fascinating thesis of the show, with at least this plot line with Janice and Richie, and how she is overcome in that moment.
I think it's also interesting that Richie is taken out by a woman, and it's a woman that has drastically changed this organization. And I feel like this whole season has been so intentional to focus on the women in this orbit and really
Yeah.
exploring the different ways in which they wield power, the different roles that they play in this world. And we see, Richie in this moment of emotion has an outburst, and Janice isn't the woman to do that to. And so I love that, as all of these guys are scheming and they think that they're in control of this family and all of that, they're really not. And you see the way that Janice, was manipulating Richie all throughout, was manipulating Tony all throughout. And after she does this, she's able to call Tony, and out of the goodness of his soft, squishy heart, slash, his rival was just taken out, he comes and cleans it up for her. So I just find that really fascinating, an interesting data point in this season that is so focused on all the women in this world.
Yeah, yeah, it's oddly very satisfying to see. Just like, and I think the final scene of this episode with Carmela is the exclamation point on that, which we got to talk about. Oh gosh, I loved it so much. But I think it's also notable that the show is showcasing that the women are taking actions, and really influencing and having agency over what happens in this world. And that is a result of the fact that the men often are acting out and dumping on many of the women in the world. And so I love that in this sequence with Richie and Janice, he punches her first, and it is a loud, powerful punch. And that is not okay. And she's had enough. And so I think that's fascinating too, is like the inciting incident is is him taking this action. She takes it very much more farther. But I think that's notable, is how many times we've seen the men in this world just push their women to the side, and they've had enough. And I think that's fascinating too. They are scheming and almost like playing a game with each other, and all of the women are in the orbit, but they are having to absorb the costs of the games that the men are playing, and all of the stress and anxiety and emotion and suppression that can't be dealt with by themselves. And so it comes out, and the women have to bear the burden of that in a lot of cases.
I also find it interesting that in one of our first Richie episodes, he tells Christopher, "Don't raise your hand to Adriana until you give her your last name."
Yeah.
Richie didn't take his own advice, and he was
Hmm.
murdered for it. So
Hmm.
I think that that's also interesting, that Richie thinks that the rules apply to other people but don't apply to him. And when he broke the rules one too many times and paid for it. So I love that callback too, to that previous episode.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. And I think the fact that Livia makes an appearance, the scene with Livia happens so soon afterwards, that there's definitely the suggestion from the show too, around like the dysfunction of Tony, the dysfunction of Janice. They're both clearly not healthy, and Janice does something that she really, it's not, she should not have done, but it comes from the family lines and the childhoods and the places that they come from. And I think that's important, that the show is also zooming out, lest we, like, for the fear of like us judging all of these characters too harshly, the show's almost like, yeah, but this is what they're dealing with, and this is how they're wired, and this is where it comes from. So I think that is also like really notable that that's how the few scenes right after this big moment with Janice happens, and with Tony's choices of action too. Like the show has a lot of like big picture perspective around them being products of like very unhealthy toxic environments, and so of course they're unhealthy, of course they don't have to deal with their feelings, and of course they're going to be incredibly volatile, and we see the aftermath of that.
I also wonder how much did Livia actually hear? Because they even talk about it. Like she hears everything when she's up there. And I don't know, man. Janice said that she drugged her, but we know that Livia is schemy and she's going to get what she wants and she knows the power and the value of information. So I'm like, how much did she actually witness? And how is she going to wield that? Because she's been pushed to the side completely and she clearly is not happy with that. So, how is she going to use whatever information she has to get more power? But I was so proud of Tony for walking away, though, when she goes on her whole gaslighting,
Yeah.
manipulative little rant. And he's like, nah, I'm done. I'm walking away, which I feel like is a sign of growth. So I was proud of our guy, even though he is having a rough time in this episode.
Yeah, she berates him, and then
It's
she's
so
like,
bad.
"You're not gonna kiss me now? You're cruel." Oh my god. And he's just like, I can see what's happening here right now.
Yeah.
Which is growth for our character.
Mhm.
But you're right. I think while this season finale is actually it's not even the finale yet. Oh my god. It feels so satisfying that it feels like a finale. Freudian slip. I am
Yeah.
satiated.
We got
Uh
one more to go.
we do. I
That's
totally
very
forgot about
exciting.
that. Honestly, this if this was the finale, I'd be pretty pleased. But there's so much more story to be told. My point was there's so much more story to be told, whether we do it in one episode or the next season, because that trip, the way Tony trips and the gun falls out, and Livia standing there in the door watching, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good. She should not have that information, and I think there's an opportunity now for Junior. Junior's not done scheming, I don't think. Like let's align to Tony together. Let's take Richie out. And then, hey, I know we were on the same team for the last round, but is there now an opportunity for Junior to take Tony out and pin this on him in some way? I just think there's a fascinating setup that's being that's being like created here that could easily become a narrative that it's not true. But we know Janice can play a great, like, she can put on a great performance too. So for her to support the narrative and paint Tony to be the killer and stuff, I don't know. There's just like there's so much here um, that could be used against Tony. So as a person in Tony's crew, personally, I worry for him. This is not good for our guy.
Yeah, that like gleeful smile that she had on her face as she saw that gun. And then just how she shut that door too. It's very much this like, I'm reclaiming my house. I'm getting everything that I wanted. It was just, it felt like this like triumphant moment for Olivia, which we should all be terrified of.
Yeah, because she's back in her home. Richie's gone,
Yep.
and Janice is gone.
Janice is
So
gone. Yep. So she's back to where we were at the beginning, which is exactly what she wanted. So
Livia's
it all
back in
worked out for our
play.
girl.
She really got everything she wanted. That's kind of
Yeah.
wild. Yeah, I didn't really fully let that set in yet, but that's what she's wanted this entire time. Her independence, her freedom. She's not in a home.
Hmm.
She wins.
Yep.
She wins. Okay.
So what is she going to do to keep that is the question
Yeah.
because she's always scheming.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Junior. Junior makes some fascinating choices. It's interesting because I think I think we're supposed to be like, wow, look at him analyzing. But the whole time I was like, this is obvious, like he's he's saying it as if it's this profound analysis of let me look at who should I align to because I've got options, and it just feels so oversimplified. And he ultimately, I think, makes the right choice for him, and sets up Richie to go talk to these folks to kind of test the waters for him to gather information. So he definitely can do more than I expect, but I don't know. He's kind of this bumbling fool that believes he is smarter and more clever than he actually is, and I think it's not going to end well for him. But I would love to see him swing for it and try. And I think Tony's suspicion of Junior is constant, but they kind of are taking it like moment to moment, battle by battle, round by round, and doing this dance, this careful dance with each other. So I think there's a lot more of Junior potentially that we'll see in episode 13, I hope, because he's got a window of opportunity now, you know? We'll
Yeah,
see.
and I also find it interesting that like he's paired with Bobby, who is not the brightest crayon in the box. He and like Tony has like made fun of him for like how dumb he is before. Like he's not as sharp as some of the other guys in this crew that we have seen. And so I also find that really interesting that that whole kind of logic puzzle that Junior was doing of, I think it's more beneficial to be with Tony. Was that for Bobby's benefit and to try and make Junior look smarter and more, I don't know, more with it than he actually is? I don't know, it just seemed like such a performance to me. And I'm like, it's probably smart to have paired with you some guy who's really not paying attention, who's not really with it, so that you do seem so smart, so intelligent, so forward thinking, because Bobby isn't doing those things.
And then Bobby goes, I'm just in awe of you.
I
I'm in
loved that
awe of you.
moment. It's so good.
I just hope that they're all playing each other. I
Me
would
too.
love that. I hope they're all doing this performance for each other, and we will see eventually the cards revealed that like Bobby's been playing this whole scheme the whole time. He's actually a mole for Tony somehow and collecting information, and that Tony knew in advance that Junior was scheming in this way because Bobby's feeding him the information. I would love to see them all eventually truly outsmart each other. I think it'd be more interesting. Um, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I would love it if Bobby is like this like brilliant
Genius.
like strategy guy and is just playing dumb because people underestimate you when they think you're an idiot. So, I would love it if this is all just a game and he is scheming and conniving and all of the things behind everybody's back. That would be delightful.
Yeah, I want him to be the Tom of this world, the Tom Wamsgams of this world, of just he's riding the wave, he's finding every opportunity that is before him, and when the time strikes, he will jump and play his cards so strategically. But playing the long game. He's patient as well. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. He could just be an idiot.
Either way, it'll be fun, but it would be great if he's scheming.
There's something satisfying for us as viewers, I think, to watch a character that is underestimated
Mhm.
ultimately show that they were pulling the strings the entire time, or
Yeah.
moving strategically the entire time. I think like that is a satisfying thing for us to watch someone get looked over and then ultimately have so much agency and clap back at everyone. Yeah, it's like for everyone that's been underestimated in their lives, they're just like, I can live out the glory of like finally being seen for all that I have to give, and like jokes on everybody else. There's something like cathartic about that.
And I think that's part of what makes this show so fun, like watching the women of this world. That's why we're so on like the rise of Carmela, because she is underestimated by everybody. And so we want to see her rise and use her influence because we know there's so much in her. I feel like Janice was kind of similar too. She just seems like this weird free spirit that people ignore and push around. But really, she knows what's going on better than some of the other people. So it's just, I love that the women are written this way in this show because it just makes you want to root for them because they're so looked down upon and pushed around. And you're just like, no, there's more in you. And it's fun to have those little glimmers.
So, should we talk about Carmela? I'm
Yes,
so
please
proud
tell
of
me more
her.
about the rise of Carmela. Let's go.
I'm so proud of Carmela. Uh, that juicy, juicy ending where she tells Tony, I'm going to Rome and you can do all of the chores for the children. Because if I had to do it, I just might commit suicide. Which is her way of saying, like, I know exactly what you've been up to. I know exactly how you're being manipulated. And helpful for Tony to realize the ways that he's being manipulated as well. She can often spot his weak points and how he's getting played by others earlier than he can himself. She's the one that's called out Olivia's manipulation to him much earlier than he could even recognize or acknowledge. So it's just neat to see the way that she can see so clearly and she understands her husband so clearly to know his weak points. But she's had enough. She's sick of losing the money and attention from her husband to everyone else, and now she's here to no longer just be the doormat and be stepped on and forgotten. And I think she's still very volatile, unfortunately, but gosh, we love to see her scheme a little, and manipulate him right back. So I just love that she's not taking it from him anymore because we've seen her take it and absorb time and time again over the course of the season. And as a woman, it was oddly satisfying to watch that. She's like claiming her ground, standing up for herself.
Yeah, I think so. I keep going back to the line that Janice says in the many episodes ago about in this world you're either the Madonna or the whore. And I feel like a few episodes ago when Carmela was like, "Hey, I might want another baby." She was trying to go down that Madonna path again. But that's not the move. And so now she's taking the tactics of the quote unquote whore and using that to get what she wants. And so it's just interesting to watch these different little tactics that Carmela is employing to try and find the right one to get what she needs from Tony. Because I don't know, if something doesn't work, you try something new. And I feel like that's what we got from her in this episode.
Yeah, she's going from playing on his emotions, his softer sides to now she's playing the game of wanting to earn his respect almost, and um I don't know if it's gonna go well for her, to be honest, because Tony Tony loves to like wield his power and his position. But she's kind of showing that she can play on his playing field as well. And I think it'll be fascinating to see how he reacts to that next, especially everything that he's gone through over the past 48 hours, and dealing with and putting out fires in every realm. He's in a vulnerable spot and she's playing a different tune with him. And so I think I'm fascinated to see in the next episode, what does he do with this now? This new Carmela, who's not so obedient, not so docile anymore, and is playing kind of a manipulative game with him. How does he respond to that?
Yeah, and it's this overtly manipulative game too. I feel like she's been like covert manipulating, like
Yeah.
kind of under the radar, but now it's just out and out extortion, basically. So how is he going to respond to that? Will he let this slide because there's so much else going on, or will, because everything is so out of control, will he seek to control her? We're gonna see, but either way, it's gonna be juicy.
It's going to be juicy. Yeah, it's Man, it's also so tragic for Tony. I don't know. His soft, squishy side is on full display in this episode. So I feel for him at the moment. Um, but everyone in his life is you see the manipulation happening, and so it Carmela for these small glimmers over the course of the past 2 seasons has been kind of a safe haven for him a little bit. He doesn't always feel seen or heard or whatnot, but there's been these moments where he can share more honestly how he's feeling and some of anxieties, and she's been able to listen and just comfort him. And for that to now turn to manipulation again, and honestly Carmela's using a lot of the same tactics that Livia's used with him as well, is kind of tragic to see for Tony's sake, who has had to combat so much manipulation from his mother his entire life, that to get it from his wife now, I mean, there's something like ironic about all of that, but also quite tragic for our guy who he's got a soft, squishy heart. We see him like give so much of that over the course in this episode specifically.
I love how much empathy you have for Tony.
It's a problem.
Oh, it's so good. But I mean, there is something empathetic about him because
Yeah.
he's just trying to take care of his family, is like kind of at the core of it. And he finds so much of his identity in this family and his friends and making sure that everybody is okay. And that's kind of like how he sees and defines himself. And so when things are out of control and people are threatening to take that and ruin this family that he
Yeah.
has, that he loves so much, whether it's an inside force or an external force, it's like, well, it's not just a threat to his business, but it's like a threat to who he is as a person, which
Mm,
makes everything feel like so existential. um, it's it's rough to watch, but man, it's good TV.
it is good TV. Yeah, yeah. And I think we see him in this episode like go a little bit above and beyond what I would expect from him. Like I think how much he's trying to help his side chick, Rena. Um, and the way he talks about her, it's not just like let me just pay her off and get her out of my hair because like ugh, like I just used her for 2 years. He says I know she's good, like I know that she's kind underneath all of that, like she's just, because Dr. Melfi asked like, well, why do you feel the need to take care of her? And he's like, one, it's a 2 year just person that's been in my life, but then two, like I see who she is, and he just, his heart softens for that. And so I think that's a fascinating part about how he's wired. Like the the cold-hearted way to go about it is I'm done and we're over, and just I don't care what happens to you. But when a person's life's in the hand, and I think he can see that she deals with some mental health stuff that he's dealt with, like there's empathy that he has for her because he sees part of himself in her in some way and just wants more for her. So I think a part of it is he's needing to deal with the situation for himself. So there's like something logistical in it for him, of course. But I think a lot of it is also in the way he talks about it to other people and not even to her, is he sees beyond just, this was a chick that I was just using. And I think that is more than I expected from him. So whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I think even Silvio delivering the money at the end, Tony
Yeah.
didn't just have somebody like drop it off, but having Silvio, such a trusted, enforcer, a trusted
To
member
make
of his
sure.
crew, hand deliver this giant thing of cash to this
Yeah.
woman, I think also just shows that tenderness and that care that he has, that he would, this is something to be entrusted to somebody who he knows he
Mm,
can trust. This isn't just something that a grunt can go deliver. Um,
yeah.
yeah, we do see his soft, squishy side in this episode.
He's a big softy, really. Like I know he's this big macho dude who like runs the ship, but when it comes to this, yeah, it's fascinating to see those moments come out. Um, and we see it come out a lot with Meadow too. You know, like he's so protective of her and like doesn't want her to be around Richie, which of course pisses Richie off. But there's a protective nature in him, and we see that come out with Rita too. Okay, other big things that happen in this episode. What stood out
I
to
mean,
you?
we got to talk about Salvatore. I know you have big thoughts and feelings about our guy who is making some odd choices in this episode.
Oh, this is not the plot that I wanted.
No.
This is terrible. Like it's very realistic. uh I always have been saying that what the show will do with Salvatore's plot will be fascinating to see what the show's thesis is about human nature. Uh, will Salvatore come around and feel remorseful, and will his guilt and his conviction ultimately triumph, and he will come clean with Tony and hopefully try and mend the relationship or whatnot? No, actually, he takes the other route, which is convince himself of a delusion to soothe his guilt. I truly believe it's an indirect response to that deep guilt that he feels, and this is his coping mechanism, is to try and convince himself that he's actually now on the better side of good, and he is protecting justice. And it's the complete opposite of what I wanted, but it's also quite a human response, and oddly showcasing kind of the ridiculousness of the delusions that we will tell ourselves to get us to stop feeling bad feelings when we have to come and face the gravity of what we've done. So I think that um it's a fascinating way to write his story. I think I'm curious to see what will happen next, but he's definitely leaned fully into Delulu, and even Skip is concerned for him.
Yeah, the way that I read that is Salvatore is seeking a place of belonging, because he's been part of this family for so many years, and there's no way that he will ever be part of this family again. And now he has nowhere to belong.
Yeah.
So let's try this. Let's be part of the quote unquote family of law enforcement. And maybe
Mm.
you can find belonging and identity and fulfillment there, because what you've lived your entire life, there's no going back to that. So that's kind of how I read it, is like him seeking belonging. I think the guilt thing is totally there, obviously, but yeah, just that desire to be known and seen and belong somewhere, because he doesn't have that right now.
And useful. Like he
Yeah.
just wants to be useful.
Yep.
Um
Yeah, have
it
purpose.
yeah, there's this like identity in being able to give and perform.
Mhm.
Hello, isn't that relatable for me? Where he's just overcompensating. He's trying to follow a Pokemon hijack that Pokemon card hijack that he doesn't need to be at. He's talking about wanting to like give lectures and like do all this stuff. Like there's this desire to be valuable, and it's interesting because it's often things he says he doesn't feel is being validated when he was in Tony's crew, which is that he was left aside, he was not um able to contribute, he was underappreciated for all the things that he'd done. And so that feeling of being valuable is clearly so important to Salvatore.
Yep. It's going to be rough. Just like we always knew it was going to end badly. It's just which variety of bad is he going to encounter? And we only have one
Yeah.
episode left. So, like, oh man, now that the Richie problem is taken care of,
Yeah.
we have to deal with this Salvatore problem. We'll see
Mm-hmm.
what the show has to say.
Yep. Yeah. So that's going to come to a head for sure in the next episode too, which in the finale that is to come, because once again, this is not the finale, even though I was satiated clearly. Um, okay. Other major things from this episode. Gosh. So much happens.
I think we hit
I think we hit the big ones.
the
Yeah.
big things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm curious too because there's these other players that we've only heard about but we've never met, which I actually really appreciate that we don't see them with the other like crew members or potential allies with Albert and I forget the name of the other one. But it's the two dudes, Larry.
Yeah. I don't know who is who,
Larry
but the guy
Armstrong.
that's behind bars. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I really have to commend the show for not showing us everything because I think it actually makes it more interesting and unpredictable that we don't know anything about them. They're just some people, and so we know as much as the characters know. We don't get too much more information other than that one conversation that Richie has with like one of the crew's henchmen, but um, the show could have just over-explained a lot of that. I think on any other show, would be like, oh, another cool, juicy conversation, and this show, The Sopranos, knows that that's not what's most important. What's most important is the information and what that reveals about Richie's reputation in the community and what Junior will do with that. And so just the efficiency of keeping us going, but also the thrill, I think, of not knowing who are they? Where are their loyalties? We have not a clue. And it doesn't matter, but gosh, they could switch sides at any time too. We know nothing about them. I think that makes it actually even more exciting.
I also find it fascinating this like representative form of government, for lack of a better term. The head is behind bars, and so they have a person go on their behalf that's making the decisions or being the go-between and all of that. And so I loved that conversation when Richie is pitching the like, we need to take out Tony, and the guy is like, nah, like I don't even need to take that back to my guy because this is insane and we're not doing this. So I'm appreciating those nuances too of like, how do you still run your crew when you're behind bars, and seeing these little glimpses of that, because we've seen the example of Junior and Tony just took over and he's like, screw you, Junior. But I would imagine that there are other ways to do this that allow somebody to still be making decisions behind bars. So I like those little inclusions as well, where we're expanding the world a little bit and understanding the inner workings a little bit more. Because I don't know, what a different way to live your life.
Hmm. Yeah, and just to add to that, I think the way that the Tony and Junior conversation goes, that after Junior brings the information to him, he's rewarded by having his percentage increase from 5% to 7.5%. It's immediate. Like, you've brought this information, I'm going to dole out the things that you deserve as a result of that, and that's just the system, the exchange, the give take of kind of the rules of this world too. So I think that was fascinating too. That they kind of, and Junior's like, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, 7.5, very good. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So I think that's
Yeah.
a fascinating way of just like the transactional nature of the relationship. They have this really nice little hug, but gosh, what's even sweeter than a hug is a 2.5% increase in my business and what I'm allocated. So not too shabby.
I also love that it was a 2.5% bump. That he only went from 5 to 7.5. And Junior was cool with it. Like, I expected pushback from Junior, and he's just like, all right, I'll take it. Okay, cool. I guess we're happy with that. Excellent.
Yeah. Unless he's scheming for more.
Which we will find out. We shall see.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to watch that train wreck happen. He's not gonna be good at it. Like,
No. But we'd
so,
love to watch him try.
yeah. Just cringe. Watch and cringe. Okay. Some TVNS awards. What is your choice for most family oriented?
I want to give it to our guy Tony for answering Janice's call and coming to the rescue to dispose of a body.
Oh, yeah. Very kind. He was
Yeah.
so calm. It's like he's done this
So calm.
before.
Yeah. Hello. I mean, he is the right person to call if you are in this situation.
Yeah.
But I just love their relationship is so like contentious throughout this entire season. And she calls and is like, I need your help. And he's like, yes, I'll be right there. Like, wow.
Hmm.
Again, that soft, squishy center.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. So good. Soft, squishy Tony. My choice for most family oriented is Christopher and Furio for so faithfully completing their task at the wee hours of the night.
You were horrified during that scene. Your face was so good.
Oh, I think is it Furio or Christopher that's like, I'm not eating at Satriale's for a long
Christopher.
time. Yeah.
Yep. I wouldn't eat there either. Holy moly. Wow. It's bringing
They're so
Sweeney Todd
funny.
to life right there. That's yikes.
Ah. Most explosive moment. What is your choice for this one? Lots of candidates in this episode today.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go with a non obvious one because
Yeah, it is
obviously
not.
Janice murdering Richie is a very explosive moment.
I
But
loved him. I loved
it's
him,
so
Tony.
dramatic. So my non obvious pick is Livia laughing when Tony falls.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really
She
good
is
one.
so gleeful in that moment. I was like, oh, we got some stuff going down. It's great.
It's so scary. She's
She is.
scary. Ooh, that's a great choice. And like because her house is up the steps, she's like towering over him from behind.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so ominous. It's so good.
Yep.
That house needs to be in a horror movie with Livia stalking, just the ghost of Livia stalking everybody.
Yes.
My choice for I also went with a non-obvious most explosive moment because Janice murdering her fiance is pretty good. It's Carmela at the end going, yeah, if I had to do all of those things, I might just have to commit suicide. The like blatant manipulate. Like you mentioned, she's been so covert for so long, but the audacity of the overt is very
Yeah.
exciting.
Yep. It is exciting and terrifying because we don't know how Tony is going to respond to extortion. So we'll see.
All right. Next category is double meaning dialogue. What is your choice for this one?
I want to give this to when Tony says to Silvio about Richie, he's not satisfied with the current leadership.
Yes.
It's
Loaded
a very
statement.
polite way of
Oh.
describing how Richie feels.
Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, that's very good. That's so good. I'm going with Janice on the phone to Tony. Tony, there was an accident.
It's the understatement of the century right there.
What happened? Dad, just get over here. Oh.
Well, I think it's also really smart because who knows if their phones are tapped. So she can't actually say what was going on, but also hilarious.
That's what I was thinking about. If she was thinking about as well.
Yeah.
It's like I know this world.
Mm-hmm.
Just get over here.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
an accident.
Okay. Well, looking ahead for the season finale of this season. This is a very juicy season. What are you excited to see?
Man, I can't believe we're already at the season finale. This has just flown by. Okay, Rise of Carmela always. More Livia now that she is armed with some new information. And I feel like the Salvatore thing has to come to a head. Like, I don't know. I might be upset if we drag him out into another season. Like, I would really like it if it's wrapped up in the season finale. Yeah, I think those are the big things. And I always want to see more Furio because he's great. He's only here for a few seconds in this episode, so a little more Furio would be lovely.
And he adds so much. I
Yeah, he
love seeing
does.
him on screen. Like every time he's on the screen, I'm like, our guy. What is he gonna say next?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I'm so excited to see what Carmela does next. And I'm excited to see how Tony's going to respond to that. So, lots there. Salvatore storyline, I agree with you. I think we cannot drag this into a new season. There's got to be some tying up. He can come back later if like he's going to boomerang back in some way, but like tie that up in some satisfying way. Otherwise, I'm going to be upset. Um, what's Junior's next move going to be? You know, Livia's now a free woman. Junior's now got a little chip on his shoulders because he had a successful scheme for a moment. And so I think he's a little bit emboldened now. I wonder if he's going to try and make a move and reawaken a scheme somehow. I don't know. They might drag that into season 3, honestly. But there's an opportunity. There's a window of opportunity. So I think that'll be fascinating. But I think my theory is that the majority of the focus will be Sal, Skip, Feds, Tony, something there. And this gun flying out in Livia's front yard, how is that going to inform some of this as well? All right. Well, this was our review and discussion of season 2, episode 12 of The Sopranos. You can find it on HBO Max. Thank you for listening to today's episode of TV and Us. Our name sums it up. We're big fans of TV and the powerful ways we can connect with each other and the world around us. This podcast is about all of us and our shared stories, so everyone is welcome here, and we're so glad you spent time with us today as we continue our journey and near the end of our journey of The Sopranos Season 2. You can subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you tune to your favorite shows. Drop us a rating and a review, letting us know how far to the ground your jaw dropped when Janice took her husband out, her lover out. You can connect with us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at tvnspod, or email us at tvnspod@gmail.com. Check out our website, andusmedia.co, for the latest on TV and Us and our other podcast, Movies and Us. We are a part of the Movie Archer podcast network, so check out moviearcher.com to learn more. We'll be back soon to discuss episode 12. We'll be back soon to discuss episode 13, the finale. We hope you have an amazing week, and we'll talk again with y'all very soon.